What's up, guys? This video is about macros, and I'm going to show you how to use a macro in order to speed up your tasks. Okay, so first off, you need to be able to identify the tasks that a macro would be very useful for. All right, basically, if you don't know what a macro is, it's just an automated movement in the computer. So imagine you have a record button, and then you can record actions that you're doing and then repeat them on a loop. So situations that are really good for macros are situations where you're doing the same task over and over and over and over again. And in this example, I'm going to show you how I am eliminating these listings. Okay? I have gotten a VERO violation for Tide products owned by Procter & Gamble. So what I need to do is not just take down the ones that I got the VERO violation for, because that was only 3 of them. I need to take down all of my listings that have Tide in the title, because I'm inevitably going to get in trouble for these ones as well, right? So that's 28 listings. This was 100 listings, and I've gone through it. So that's kind of time consuming. And this is a scenario where we can use a macro to go through it. So I'm going to show you how to record the macro and create it, because the recording process is actually quite simple. I am using JitBit Macro Recorder, and it says unlicensed. I actually have a license. I just recently reinstalled my computer, and I just haven't added the license yet. But you can use it for free. See? Okay, we're now recording a macro. But I don't want to do that. But you see now you have a record button and a play button. So you record something, and then you click play, and it repeats that on a loop, right? So I'm going to show you how I'm using a macro in order to expedite this whole process, okay? So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to check something out here really quick. I want to look in this link here and see if there's anything revise and draft URL. Okay. I'm just looking in the URL because I want to do this quickly, right? I want to open every revise link on this entire page. So I'm going to use this button here to extract all the links on this page, and then I'm going to search for all of these links, right? And now I'm going to click copy these 28 links, and let's see, 28 results. Okay, perfect. We're going to go into Session Buddy now, and these are my 2 go-to tools. They're both Chrome extensions. Wow, they are both Chrome extensions. Session Buddy and URL Grabber. We're going to click import, and now we're going to open all of those tabs. So by doing this, I prevent myself from having to go right click, new tab, right click, new tab, right click, new tab, right click, new tab. Okay? So if we go over here, we will find that our links are now open, and they are open to the revise item link of the page. Okay? So first I'm going to do this manually for the first item. 1, that's going to give the rest of the listings time to load, and 2, that's going to illustrate to you guys what I need to do to each item. So all of these violations are for using images that I do not have the permission to use. So what I'm going to need to do is click delete all, click yes, click add photo, and then put any photo in here. The reason that you have to add any photo is because you need to get rid of the infringing content, but you can't have a listing without a photo. And you need to revise the listing to get rid of the content before you delete it. So you just need to add some generic placeholder image. It really doesn't matter what it is because the listing is going to get deleted. So in this case, I usually just use whatever I find in my pictures folder. The only qualification here is that the image has to be big enough to pass eBay's minimum image size, right? So we got the image, we get rid of all those images, we replace that with one of our own images, and then we scroll down, and there's also an image in the description. So what we do is Control A to select everything, and then just click any letter, and that's going to replace the whole description with 1 letter, and it's going to delete the picture, okay? And then what we have to do is scroll down and click Update Listing. And then at that point, it's going to update. We don't need to do anything else. So now that you understand how I did that once, let's see how I can do that multiple times to take care of it in every single occurrence of this macro. Okay? So what we're going to do is click Control R. This is going to start recording a new macro. I'm going to click yes, and now it's going to start by clicking on the Delete All button, and then we're going to click on yes. From now, we need to use page down to get to the description. So we're going to click page down, then we're going to click in the middle of the description, Control A, and then A. That's going to delete everything. And now we're going to click page down 2 more times, and then we're going to click update listing. Okay? Now we're going to click Control Tab to go to the next one. All right? And then we're going to click stop recording. I messed up actually. Okay. So you guys can see that I never added the main image here. Okay? So let's add the new image. Go to courses, click. And so now we should be able to update the listing. And it should show this screen when it's done. Yeah, okay, cool. So, all right, we got to restart our macro, so Control R. We're going to click delete all. Yes. Add photo. Courses. Open. You want to minimize the clicks, because the more clicks you have, the slower your macro has to be in order to work. Now we're clicking page down. Now everything, A, page down, page down. And now we click on update listing. And now Control Tab to go to the next item. Okay? So we just finished the macro. But the macro currently will play, if we click play now, it's going to perform the macro at exactly the same amount of time we took to make the macro. We want to change that. And now before I change it, let me explain how I'm going to change it. You can see that every command has a command, a mouse click, left button down, and then it has a delay, and then the next command, and then a delay, and then the next command. You have to have delays in between your commands, otherwise your keyboard's going to just go like boom, 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 boom. It's not going to work. You have to make sure everything loads. You can't just run it as fast as possible, right? So I'm going to run this macro at 200 milliseconds. Because remember, if you can get it down, it doesn't matter if the macro takes a little bit longer than you can do it. Because you can literally get up and walk away and do something else, watch TV or do anything. And your computer is just going to do this for you. So let's illustrate that concept now, okay? We're going to click play. And I'm not doing anything. But because... oh, there we go. We got an exception. So I got to stop this now. What happened there? Ooh, we clicked on... okay, so this is pixel-based, right? So for some reason, instead of clicking on delete all, like that, our macro clicked on import from web. So I'm going to finish this one manually. And then everything else is already taken care of, right? So we just wait for that to load. It's already loaded, and now we go to the next one. Let's try again really quick, but I think it might do the same thing again. Yeah, okay. So what needs to happen now is that we have to re-record the macro. So I'm going to go stop, and then I'm going to go do that, and then click Control R. And because we were having issues with this, we're going to make sure that we click at the far left end of delete all, okay? So we're going to click here, and then click yes. Then click add photos, and then just do the same things, right? You want to make sure that when you record the macro, you take time to do things accurately, okay? So we click here, Control A, page down, update listing. And then Control Tab. And now we can stop the recording. But I need to edit the delays, 200 milliseconds, and then go. Okay? So now, if we did everything right, we should be able to just sit back. All right, we messed up there. Okay, so this macro is trying to do too much. So to show you guys what you need to do when this happens, I'm going to illustrate something real quick, all right? First off, macros usually, once you get the hang of them, they run much better. Like I'm having trouble now. One of the reasons I'm having trouble is because I'm recording. And if you're also recording and running macros, it's all based on your CPU usage. So the macros get kind of finicky if you're recording, and they have to be shorter. So in an effort to shorten this process, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish these, right? So these are all done. I'm going to get rid of them in the list. And now, instead of going through and doing everything at once, what we're going to do is do half of the work in one pass. So we're going to go through all these listings, do the first half, and then go through again and do the second half. And I'm going to try and do this properly so that the macro doesn't boot out, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We have 21 listings. So it's going to take 1 to record it. So I'm going to click Control R. And we're recording a new macro, right? So at this point, we're going to click Delete All. Yes. Add Photo. Courses. Open. Control Tab. That's all we're going to do at first, okay? So now I'm going to edit all of these delays. Whoa. Edit all of these delays to 200 milliseconds. Okay? And now we're going to click Play. And this is going to work much smoother because the macro is much shorter. It's still running slightly slow, but it actually caught itself there, which was lucky. So you can see that what's screwing the macro up is that sometimes the Explorer page doesn't load before the macro clicks. So in order to fix that, all you would need to do is edit the specific delay so that it waits long enough to ensure that the macro is made, right? And with this specific macro, it'll catch itself because it won't move forward, which you can see, right? Like it's moving forward, but then it just finishes it, right? That's lucky. You can record the macros and make them fix themselves like that, but that's not always going to happen. In this situation, the way to actually fix this would be to increase the delays. But I'm not going to worry about that right now because this macro is accomplishing everything that it needs to. And we're just going to wait until it gets to the beginning of the list. Okay, awesome. So now we are back at the beginning of the list, except now everything in the list has the photo replaced. See? The photos have all been replaced. So now what we need to do is we're going to start up here, and we need to go page down, and then get rid of this, page down, and then click Update, okay? Another thing we could do is actually just zoom out even more. And that's something I do a lot with macros, because ideally, you don't have to do any kind of scrolling. Scrolling kind of screws things up. So in this situation, you would just click over here, Control A, page down, and then Update Listing. That's going to be a shorter macro than if we were zoomed in all the way, right? So let's record our new macro. And our new macro is just going to click here, Control A, page down once, Update Listing, and then it's going to click Control Tab to go to the next tab, okay? So we're going to stop the recording, and this macro is going to work much better than the previous one. So you'll see that it probably won't have any issues. And that's because we're not waiting for anything to load. Anytime you're waiting for something to load, that indicates that you're going to need to wait for the delay. But is it possible? Let's see. We may have screwed things up a little bit here because you see how the size changes here? So most of these are at this point, right? But then that one listing here is further down. So just for this listing, we're going to do it manually. But then the next listing, it should be okay, right? Let's see. Okay? So I'm not doing anything. The computer's doing everything at this point. And you can see now how it is exactly that you can use macros to automate your tasks. Because remember, you don't have to make the macro do things faster than the way you were gonna do them. The idea of using the macro is make a macro that you know is gonna work, even if it takes longer than what you're gonna do, so that you can go off and make some tea or watch television or do something else while your computer just does each of these steps. And the longer you make your macro, the longer you make your delays, the more accurate your macro is going to become. So if you're recording macros and you're having trouble with things not loading right, just increase the delay time. Because if you increase it enough, like at this point, I could completely leave this. I have complete faith that this is just going to keep going and it's going to do everything properly, right? So there we go. It just finished the list, right? So we're going to exit out, and now everything in the list is completed. Success, you've updated your listing. So now we can exit out of all of this, and then we can refresh this page, right? We're just going to search for Tide again. And now we can see that all of my photos have been changed. So I've gotten rid of all of the infringing content. So now that the infringing content is down, all we have to do is click on Actions and End. And then End Listing. And now we've gotten rid of all of our violating content. And obviously, because I was recording this, it ran a little bit slower, and I probably could have done it about that fast, right? But it's really nice to be able to just record it, and even if you're watching the macro, it's nice to just be able to lay back and just watch it do the work for you versus having to do it all yourself, right? So this is something that I really encourage you guys to use. Unfortunately, JitBit doesn't have a referral system, so I won't get any credit for you using this program, but if you want to use it, you can go to Google and go to JitBit Macro Recorder, okay? And then that's the program right here. Let me check and see if they have an affiliate system. Oh, look at that. They do have an affiliate system. Whoa, that's fancy. Oh, but it says buy now links. All right, let's click sign up. Anyway, I'm going to try and figure this out, and maybe I'll be an affiliate for JitBit. That would be amazing. But for now, I did the purposes of this video, which was to show you how to use macros to speed up your tasks. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Ciao.